Welcome back to you. I'm Eleanor, this is Motor Matters, and we're back with our friend Kuda. Hi, Kuda.
Hey, Alan, how are you keeping?
Fantastic, thank you. Last week we started off the series of chats about safety, about technology, and safety technology. Let's get that one out there now, that the Ford range are offering these days,
Right.
and very specifically filtering down through the range. And I love the fact that the new technology starts at the top, costs you a fortune, and then becomes so much more affordable.
Yeah.
Today we're talking Everest.
Yes.
I know that's one of your favorites, isn't it?
It is absolutely one of my favorites. It's actually the car I'm driving at the moment. Absolutely love it. Have the fortune of driving it by virtue of the fact that we assemble it locally. So
Yeah.
that's a fact that I think has escaped many people. We have a huge operation out in Pretoria where it's the home of Ranger,
Yeah.
and also now the home of Everest.
Fantastic. And I mean, the numbers you guys are producing there. But that's a whole different other
It
story,
is,
because
it is.
I was fortunate enough that I was on the launch of the 3.2 Everest,
Yes.
a year and a half ago already, and then the 2.2s that came along about 6 months or so ago.
Yeah.
And I was on both launches. They talked to me. So much good stuff on both
There
those
is,
cars.
absolutely.
But now let's talk tech that's built into the Everest range. And I'm going to ask you, start with safety tech, please.
Sure. So from the safety perspective, and again, you mentioned
Yeah.
about how we have technology that starts off pretty pricey and cascades its way down. We are all beneficiaries of that. And Ford's always been one of the leaders in either rolling out technology, Sync is a prime example of that, our leading in-car infotainment
Right.
system software, which is available as standard, depending on the range that you take. We have 3 different levels of Sync, there's Sync 1, Sync 2, and Sync 3. In Everest, in the XLS range, which is the entry point to it,
Yeah.
you will have Sync 1, building up to Sync 3 in our XLT and Limited. And for the XLT and Limited, that's also baked in with full-fledged navigation. So there's a whole bunch of feature content that's there, and all packaged in at the list prices that we have. So none of it is optional for you to add on to. But if you look at driver-based aid technology.
Yes. Let's go there now.
Yes. In our Limited series, you have things like pre-collision assist. So very useful, pops up almost like a head-up display.
Yes.
So as you turn the car on, you actually get a prompt. These series of LED lights just on the front project themselves onto the windscreen.
Right.
And as you're driving, if you're approaching a vehicle and not maintaining what the car deems to be a suitable distance between yourself and the car in front, it'll begin to pop up and those lights get wider and wider. If you get far too close,
So,
it'll actually-
little warning, big warning.
big warning. But it starts in a very controlled fashion.
Right.
So there's no audible warning. You just get 4 lights pop up on the grid. Then as it gets wider and wider, the closer you're getting. Then if you get far too close, then the lights blink and you get an audible warning come
Okay.
through. And the car will assist you in braking. So that's quite useful.
Very much so.
In many ways.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you'll have moments where, for whatever reason, you might just lose concentration, take your eye off the road, and it's good to know the car can manage that.
Well, yeah, it's heading step 1, there's stage 1, 2, 3 of autonomous driving.
Yes.
And this is, I think, level 1 or stage 1.
In Ford
yeah.
speak, we refer to 5 different levels of
Okay.
autonomy. We would put Everest capabilities probably at a 2, because that's baked in with other things like adaptive cruise control.
Yes.
Now, adaptive cruise control is phenomenal. It's not something that was specifically created by Ford. It has cascaded through other brands, but I think the difference is we've availed it at a very accessible price point. And we have it in a number of models, not just Everest. But with adaptive cruise control, you set your speed and your pace between yourself and the vehicle in front, and the car is able to manage that. If the car in front brakes, Everest will brake.
Yeah.
Right down to a full stop and pick up that momentum again as you start driving along.
It's, the technology is mind-boggling.
It is.
We're running out of time, but I want to just touch on something that will cover Everest and Ranger, is also your 4-wheel drive.
Correct.
And off-road electronics.
Correct. And the great thing with Everest is the terrain management system.
Yes.
Specifically in Everest, shift on the fly, just by the gear lever, you can, depending on the environment that you're in, if the conditions are snowy or sleet, which is more practical
Right.
in our Southern African environment, you can flip on the wheel if you're in a sand base, if you're hard off-roading. There's a dial that you can just turn right next to the gear lever that optimizes traction and control in their respective environment.
And the other one, and I know we're out of time here, is the downhill descent control where you use your cruise control buttons to set a speed going down a hill. And on one of the launches, I know we were coming down a mountain and crawling at, I think I'd set it at like 4 kilometers an hour.
Correct. And that's standard. Hill descent control and hill launch assist. In our XLT and our limited range, hit the button, it activates on the screen, and especially on the hill descent.
Right.
The car manages the braking, and to your point, you can choose to increase your speed with the controllers
Just
on
the
the
touch of a little button
correct.
with your thumb. I mean, fantastic.
It's all managed and controlled.
Kuda, that's the Everest range. Next one, we're going to cover the Ranger. Let's move on to the Ranger, which similar platform we know, but lots of differences. But thanks for being with me again today. And next week, we'll carry on with the Ranger.
Perfect.